everyone. My name is Shawna, and I'm the host of the Adelaide Cottage podcast. Thank you to all of the new viewers who are checking out my podcast for the first time, and thank you to all the returning viewers for coming back to watch another episode. I appreciate that you're spending your time with me, kind of see what I'm up to, and things like that. So this is a podcast about knitting, sewing, hand-dyeing yarn, a little bit of spinning on a drop spindle I just tried for the first time a couple of weeks ago, some quilting, a little bit of everything, but knitting is my number one passion. So yeah, I am coming to you from a little suburb of Buffalo, New York. We are having the most mild winter that I can ever remember. I grew up in Buffalo, and we've always had a ton of snow, but right now it's sunny, it's warm, the grass is green. I don't know what's going on, but I'll take it. If you would like to follow me on Instagram or Ravelry, just look up Adelaide Cottage, and you'll find me there. And there's also a group on Ravelry that you can join, where there will be occasional knit-alongs and giveaways. So definitely join. I'd love to chat with you on there. I really appreciate all of the feedback I've received from my first few episodes via Instagram, PM messages, or Ravelry messages and emails. You guys have been so encouraging, and I really appreciate it. I love learning about all of you and learning your knitting story or your sewing story, how you began to do those things. So yes. Let's see. So I have exciting news. I am officially going to Rhinebeck this year. I'm so excited. I'm going with my cousin Dana. It's my husband's cousin, but she has to deal with me now since I married her cousin. And her really good friend, Rachel. We have our accommodations all set. We rented a house for the weekend. We're going to go Friday through Sunday. I think it's the weekend of October 15th and 16th this year. I've never been, so this is really, really exciting. I'm already saving money in my little piggy bank to buy tons and tons of yarn. And is it really sad that I already picked out my Rhinebeck sweater? Maybe. I have been eyeing this sweater for a very long time. It's actually a cardigan, and many of you have probably knit it or have seen it. But I went ahead and purchased the pattern, the Campside Cardi. I am in love with this pattern. The eyelets along the back, the color, everything. I'm debating whether I should hand dye my own yarn for this or if I should buy some from another dyer. I'm not really sure. I think it might be even more special if I dye my own first Rhinebeck sweater. So we'll see. I have a little bit of time to think about it, but the reason I am starting soon is because I've never knit a sweater before. I've done shawls, hats, cowls, just dove into socks, but never a sweater. So this is really exciting for me. So that's that. Rhinebeck, here I come. You guys probably think I'm crazy because it's so far away. Yes, knitting. I have one finished object. I actually finished it this morning. I woke up so early this morning because my 2-year-old woke up crying. Must have been a bad dream or something, but I jumped out of bed, made sure he was okay. He fell back asleep, and I could not go back to sleep. I have a lot on my mind right now, which I'll talk about later, but I sent Molly from a Homespun House a message because she was on Instagram. And I told her, I'm like, I'm wide awake. It's 4 a.m. here. And she thought I was crazy, but she's like, go and knit, have some coffee. So that's what I did. And I should do that more often. Like set an alarm before the whole family wakes up so that I have some quiet knitting time. But let's see, yes, I have it in this bag. Here it is. This is the Summer in Provence cowl by Kalura Hudson. And it's in some of my own hand-dyed yarn. It's one of the first colorways that I dyed up. It's just in a knit pick space. This was before I started dyeing yarns for my Etsy shop. I forgot to mention I have an Etsy shop called Adelaide Cottage, and later on I'll show you some of the things that will be in there soon. So, here it is. It needs to be blocked. And this garter ridge down here keeps curling because it needs to be blocked, but that's what it looks like. I was not a big fan of the 1x1 cabling. Putting one stitch on a needle in the back, knitting a regular stitch, then knitting the stitch on the needle in the back, and then moving a cable stitch to the front, and so on and so forth. I just found it tedious. If there were like 2 stitches or 3, I would have been so much more happy, or so much happier. But a few people reached out to me because they sensed my frustration with it, and told me, or showed me a shortcut to knit without a cable needle when you just have the one stitch. So I did that, and it's awesome. So thank you to the couple of people that explained the shortcut to me. That was really helpful. So this is finished. I'm not sure if I like it enough to give it to somebody. I don't think it's beautiful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not in love with it. And I want to be in love with something that I give to somebody special. So I'm not sure if I'm going to give it to my aunt or not. We'll see. I'll block it and see how I feel about it. So that is my only finished object this week. I did not do a lot of knitting because I was sewing some new project bags for my shop, which I'll show you later. So I did lots of sewing. What do I have in here? The other thing I have going on right now, a whip, is my collared pixie hat. And I only knit a couple of rows on here, but for those of you who didn't watch last week, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's super cute. I don't have a picture of it because I'm horrible. But it's basically the collared neck, and then there's a cutout for your face, so it goes around the child's head and it points at the top. It's adorable. And it's written in another language, the pattern, but somebody very kindly, if you're English speaking, somebody kindly translated it in the comment section on the pattern page. So just look for collared pixie hat, or look in my Ravelry page and you'll see how to get to the pattern. But I only have part of the collar done so far. And I slipped a few stitches, like it says, for the face. And that's as far as I got on that for right now. I really wanted to get that cowl off the needles. And for this I'm using Knit Picks Felici yarn in the Baker Street colorway, and I'm holding 2 strands together so that the colors are really contrasty because I didn't want it to be solid self-striping. Even though you can still see the stripes, I just wanted it to be to blend a little bit more. So I have that in one of my bags. And my son made me this for Mother's Day last year. It's a little pin with his picture. So I have that on my bag. Super cute, but this is a little recipes fabric. Banana bread, cookies. Okay. The other thing I've been working on is my Cozy Memories blanket. If you watched previous episodes, you probably know that I don't have a lot of minis right now. Now I do, but before I didn't. I was one of the lucky ones who scored one of Molly of a Homespun House's Cozy Memory Kit bags. It is adorable. It's a nice tote bag, so you can carry it on your shoulder, and when the blanket gets too big, it can grow. You don't have to worry about zipping it up. But inside, I have my Cozy Memories pattern, of course, and then my journal, because I'm journaling all of the yarns I put into it. And with the kit I got, I haven't broken into this because I wanted to show you guys how beautiful these yarns are. These are all from Molly of a Homespun House. Little minis in 10 different colorways, and then it came with really yummy caramel apple pie tea and a center stitch marker for that center stitch on your blanket. But these are gorgeous. I have a few favorites actually. I have to say, I believe this is Berlin Sunset. That is my all-time favorite. And I think this is Blush. This is another favorite of mine. And all of these speckled colors of goodness. I love speckly pinks and mauves and blush tones. So thank you, Molly. I'm so super excited to use them. I'm going to get going on this soon because I only have 4 squares and now I have minis to play with. Where can I put this? I knit 1 square because that's all I had. This bag and minis arrived on Friday. So, yeah, so I knit this square. I had these 3 last time. And this was a yarn that I had from one of my shawls, the windswept shawl that I knit. And it's Bijou Basin Himalayan Trail. Okay, so I have a couple more things that I want to put on the needles, and I'm going to show you what those are, and a little bit of sewing to show you. But first I wanted to just chat about what's been on my mind lately. I have a big doctor's appointment tomorrow in New York City. We're going to fly there, my husband and I, very early tomorrow morning. I think our flight leaves at around 5:45 a.m. So we have to be at the airport at around 4. So my mother-in-law is coming over tonight for dinner, and then she's going to stay overnight so that she's here with our 2 kids in the morning to get our oldest off to school and stay here with the youngest while we're gone. So for those of you who haven't seen my first episode, I talked about it at length a little bit because it has a lot to do with my knitting story and why I started knitting. And I'm not afraid to talk about it. I have a spinal cord cancer. There's a tumor in my spinal cord in my neck, and I underwent a very delicate surgery and recovery, and then radiation after that. And this appointment tomorrow is, it's going to basically let us know if the radiation worked. So I had 1 MRI after radiation. It was only about 6 weeks after radiation ended, and their expectation was that the tumor would shrink, and it didn't. It stayed the same size. So tomorrow it will have been 6 months since that MRI, and they will let me know if it stayed the same size, if it shrunk, if it grew bigger. My hope is that it shrunk or stayed the same, obviously, because if it grew bigger, I don't have any options left. I can't do chemotherapy. I can't have any more radiation to the spinal cord since it's so delicate, and surgery didn't work. So I would appreciate any prayers that you have, that you can send my way, positive vibes. And I'm not afraid to talk about it because I really want to raise awareness to spinal cord tumors. I'm a nurse, and I never knew that a human can have a tumor inside of their spinal cord. It was very shocking to me when I found out. So if you want to know more about it, I'm going to refer you back to episode 1. I talk about it quite a bit, just so that I can give everybody kind of my background and what's going on in my life, and how that played a role in why I started knitting. So I do apologize in advance. The lighting is terrible in that episode, and even a couple episodes after that. I was trying to learn basically how to podcast the correct way, finding the right device and the right settings. So I do apologize in advance. It's very dark and gloomy. But there you can hear a little bit more about what's going on. So yes, tomorrow morning, New York City. If we have time, I might make a pit stop at Gauge Intention. And yes, I'll have the MRI in the morning, and then I'll find out the results at around noon, and see what's going on. So that's weighing heavily on my mind. But I wanted to find a project to bring with me on the airplane, because knitting is so therapeutic for me and helps me relax. I really wanted to bring something meaningful and something I can work on the plane, and while I'm in waiting rooms. So there are 2 options, and the first one is this beautiful shawl that I just found on Ravelry last night. And the second I saw it, I felt that I needed to have it. So I bought the pattern. It's called Waiting for Rain by Sylvia Bobilvia. And it's a beautiful lace and garter stitch shawl. Here's a picture of it. And it's quite long, which I love. You can wrap it around you. Let's see if I can find another picture for you. And this calls for about 780 yards of fingering weight yarn. And I love this gray, but I don't have that much gray yarn right now in fingering weight. So I've been hoarding yarn from the Wool Barn, Maya of the Wool Barn. I bought this yarn from her quite a long time ago, and I've been hoarding it because I think it's so beautiful. So I was thinking to knit it with her luxury sock base in the colorway called Roses and Honey, which is amazing. There are specks of like strawberry red and like a really light brown. I love it. And there's just enough yardage for that project. So it's either that or a pair of blueberry waffle socks, and another skein of yarn from the Wool Barn, because I love her yarn so much. So the symbol of hope, the hope symbol for brain and spinal cord cancer is gray, and the hope symbol or the hope ribbon for ovarian cancer, which is what my mom had, the first cancer she had, is teal. And I have this lovely tweedy skein of yarn from Maya of the Wool Barn, like I said, and it's kind of a grayish tone of bluish teal, don't you think? I think that this would be perfect, especially for blueberry waffle socks. And I can kind of call them my hope socks. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know if I want to start a huge project like a shawl going on a trip, or if I want to work on something small like socks. But I think I might go the sock route and then start the shawl when I get home. But those are 2 projects that I'm itching to cast on. A little bit of sewing. First of all, I want to thank Isabel from the Fluffy Fibers podcast for saying such lovely things about me and my podcast on her latest episode. She is such a gentle, beautiful person, and I'm just getting to know her more. We've sent a few messages to each other, and I've been catching up on old podcasts of hers while watching the new ones, and I love her style. I love her approach to everything. I love her choices and yarns and fabrics, and she's just very sweet, and she said, like I said, really nice things about me. So I just want to say thank you, Isabel, for taking the time to do that. That was really sweet of you. And she is hosting a cowl, not a cowl, actually, it's a sale. It's a sew-along in her Ravelry group called Fluffy Fibers. And it's a cute dress sew-along. So that's the tag she's using on Instagram for it. And it starts today, February 1st, and ends March 20th, I think. I'd have to double check the date. But the idea is to sew a cute dress, whether it's one for summer or spring, just something cute. And this is a pattern that I sent to her because I loved it so much. I bought two, kept one for myself and sent her one. And I thought that it would be really nice, something that she would like. And especially now that she's expecting a baby, this would make a really nice maternity dress for her. But I would also like to make one. It's the Dottie Angel frock. It's a Simplicity pattern, number 1080. And I love that she's holding a ball of yarn. That's perfect. But there's so many things you can do with this dress because you can pick your top and bottom fabric, pick the different pocket fabrics, and there's so many different styles that you can choose from. So this is the one I'm going to do, and I'm definitely going to sew along with her in the group. So I'm excited about that. I've never sewn a garment before. I've only sewn things like project bags and little crafty things, so never anything for me to wear. I have some exciting news for my shop, my Etsy shop. I have only had zippered project bags in the past, and they were wedge shape, and they are fabulous, a fabulous style, I think, but I wanted to create or design something a little bit different that I've seen, and I designed a drawstring bag, but I'm not saying that nobody has drawstring bags. I just added a few elements to it that make it a little bit unique, and maybe when people see it, they'll say, oh, that's, Shawna made that. But this is the one I designed. This is the small size sock bag. And I love this fabric with all the little forest friends. There's deer, birds, squirrel, owls. There's a fox, butterflies. And the best part about these is they're reversible. And I also included these little kind of pull tabs or drawstring tab ends to match the fabric. So that matches the outside, and this is the fabric I used on the inside. So there's one on each drawstring. And then it's pretty spacious in there. It would generously hold a sock project, if not a small shawl maybe. But it's reversible, so you can use it both ways. If you're sick of looking at the cute little forest friends, you just pop it inside out. And it's got a nice square bottom, so it fits a lot of your items. And then you've got a cute pink bag. So that's exciting for me. I had a lot of fun making these. There are a few going into the shop today. And I'm going to have a small and a large size available. This is the large size. And I don't have anything in it. The small one will stand up on its own. These bags are interfaced for some extra stability, but it's not a thick interfacing. I wanted it to be flexible so that it holds your project and it doesn't feel very stiff. So This is the large size. It's much larger than the other one. And it's got the square bottom. And I'll show you the inside. It's quite large. This would be great for a Cozy Memories blanket or a sweater project, or any kind of blanket project, really. It's very big. And then the tabs, there's a little girl fishing, and this is the inner. It's getting kind of sunny. That's the inner fabric. And I'll turn this one right side out. Okay. And there's that one on the inside. And then they just pull shut. You could carry it like this on your arm, or tie it in a bow, whatever you'd like to do. But this is what it looks like when it's closed. So I really like the way those turned out. I also have a few more patterns. I made a couple of Easter. I used some Easter fabric. I still have to put the drawstrings in these ones, but this is one of the prints. The little bunnies hopping around. And on the inside I used like a sparkly yellow polka dot, and then almost like a speckled egg bluish green color for the bottom on the inside. And then this one, cute little bunnies in the park, carrying a wheelbarrow of Easter eggs. And this one, it's hard to see it in this particular bag, but, oh, there it is. There's a willow tree, and my late mother, that was her favorite tree. Every time she passed one, she would tell me how much she loved willow trees. So when I saw this fabric, I had to get it. But this one has sparkly purple dots, and then the inside is like a lilac purple with the sparkly yellow dots at the bottom. And then they'll have the drawstring and the pull tab. And then I also have that Forest Friends one in a large size too. In this one, the inside fabric's a little bit different. This one has kind of like a Bambi taupe colored fabric with the pink top, and the pink is really cute because it's got butterflies and trees and flowers. You could see Bambi there. There you go. So yes, that was a very exciting project for me. I was working on these most of the week actually, and that's why I didn't get a ton of knitting done. I have fabric cut out for a bunch of these bags. I just have to finish sewing them together and stick them in the shop. So by the time you watch this, they'll probably be available for you to purchase. And I have some more fabrics that I might make in that type of bag. This one was just way too fun to pass up. Look at this. It's busy, but super cute if you're a cat lover. But look at all the craft elements in this one. There's a sewing machine, yarn basket, a quilt up there. I just love it. Knitted socks, buttons, measuring tape. You get it. It was way too cute, so I had to get some. And then this is another one. All the furry friends, they're upside down. All the woolly animals. And I also have another sheep one with kind of a green background that I got a while back. This one is adorable, I think, with the fox and the squirrels. And one last one. This is another favorite of mine. It's almost like Scandinavian looking, vintage. But I really like that one too. So those will be in the works soon, but I just wanted to show you what's in my shop. I will also be dyeing some more yarn. I'm waiting for a bulk order of bear yarn to come in the next couple of days. So in my shop you'll see a couple of pre-orders in popular colorways, like the pink lemonade and Neapolitan and pixie dust. Those are my 3 top sellers. So definitely grab one of those if you're interested. And yeah, that's all I have for you this week. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend time with me, and I will talk to you guys all next week. Bye.